Do you ever type something on your phone and then like the word that comes up is a complete nonsense word, but you thought you were typing an actual word?
All the time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
did I have a stroke?
You look back and you're like, what the fuck happened to me?
Right. And like none of the letters are right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. With all of that being
Yeah.
said, should we start our podcast now?
Yes, let's do it. Hi, welcome to Make Me, the podcast where we convince each other to do things we couldn't be bothered to do ourselves. Convince is the new word this week. I'm Julia Weeks.
I'm Jordan Steadman.
How do you feel about me convincing you to do things?
I feel very convinced this week.
Yeah. As if I have to coerce you into producing your own podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, this one I'm probably one of the most excited of the Make Me's about. If
Really?
that sentence made sense.
This one is the one I'm most convinced about the Make Me, and I'm excited about doing and producing that Make Me thing.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's what I said. So how you doing this week outside of the podcasting world?
I feel great. Central AC is the best. I moved and got central AC and I feel way happier.
Oh, that's great. I wish I
Yeah.
had Central AC.
How about you?
Oh, things are good. I've been spending my time looking at roller skate babes on Instagram and pining over their cool outfits and their roller skates. I have roller blades. They're not as sexy.
Yeah, but in my opinion, rollerblades are significantly like cooler, you know?
I feel like I'm in like a cool teen movie and I can like shred on some rails and stuff.
Yeah. I really honestly during like quarantine, there's two things I miss a lot. One of them is karaoke and one of them is like going to roller skating rinks, which I haven't done since I was like 21, but
Yeah.
I really want to do it. And the fact that I can't,
like two.
huh?
The fact that you can't is like sad to you.
It just like makes me want it even more.
Yeah. I've only been to like two in my whole life.
Really? I used to go all the time.
Oh my god.
Shout out
feel
to
like
the roller den in Ashtabula.
Oh my god, the roller den. That sounds like a place to get murdered.
It kind of is. They had like this huge like jungle gym too. And inside and like 13, 14-year-old kids, like that's where like you go to do like naughty things when you're like 14.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gross.
Ooh, that's nasty. I was gonna tell you a story about a jungle gym and me as a kid pooping in it, but we can save that for another time.
Yeah, they'll be make me where I make you tell me that story.
Perfect. All right, you want to get into the make me's?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so what was your make me this week?
Okay, so this week, Julia, you made me make my own MadLibs.
Ooh, yeah.
Which I love MadLibs a lot.
Me too.
I think that they're an underappreciated like form of entertainment.
Yes, and I feel like people think that they're only for kids.
Yeah. And they're wrong. I'm going to say that right now.
Wrong.
So before I like talk about what I did, what is your like history of MadLibs?
I feel like I always had MadLibs on road trips.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like how my brother and I passed the time, other than playing Game Boy.
Yeah.
And we would always like ask our dad, we'd be like, a noun. Okay, but we need another noun now. And another one. And he's like, I'm trying to drive.
As if he can't think of nouns like while he's driving. I imagine like a dad being like, you just asked me for a noun.
Right. Or he would try to give us words that we like are a little beyond our reading level. So we're like, what is chartreuse?
Yeah.
Look it up.
Oh, I love that.
But we would, and then I think I had a bunch just like my whole life. And, you know, you had so many that you like didn't fill out a whole book ever. So you were like jumping around to find the good ones.
Yeah.
And then inevitably like half the words were like poop and butt.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, this is comedy. Like this is amazing. Yeah,
true epitome of comedy is changing the words of stories and songs to like poop, pee, butt, fart.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's my history with it. All the fart jokes.
See, I feel like I have a pretty similar history, but here a little sad portion of my life. So I hopped back and forth between like both of my parents' house a lot.
Yeah.
So, and I was the only one who was hopping back and forth.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of alone time in between those moments. And I had a MadLib book. And when I was younger, I didn't fully understand like the point of it. And like the one thing about MadLibs is that you need two people because like
Right.
one person is filling it out and the other person's just like reading off the thing. But my like dumb brain didn't understand that. So I would just fill them out on my own. But like it would
Oh.
just be like I would just be like filling in the line. So I would just like already know what it's saying. Like I already know
Right.
what I expected. So it like didn't come out funny. I was like, I don't really see the point of these. And it wasn't until later when I like found out what it was. And I think it was like in a situation where I was like in a waiting room with somebody for like a doctor's appointment or like a dentist appointment or something, and they had like a half filled out book. And
Yeah.
I then realized what I was supposed to do with those. And then my world opened
Um,
up.
then Mad Libs became even better.
Yeah.
I feel like I had one where so like the Mad Lib would be on the bottom page and you flip it over and they had just like a grid where it said like noun, noun, verb, adjective, noun, and it just gave you like a list but without the story. So you
Oh, okay.
could fill it out on your own. But even then you're like, what am I gonna write dog twice?
Right. Also, like, who is this for? Like me?
Right.
Like, I feel like Mad Libs would be should be used more in like an icebreaker situation,
Oh
and
my
I
god,
feel
yeah.
like because you could just go around you could go around like whatever circle or whatever you're in and just fill it out and
Yeah.
like and take turns, and then like you could all read it together or like someone reads it out loud and like see the funny story that you came up with.
Yeah, or like read it to one of the people that you get like the last person you talk to. I feel like like I feel like icebreakers where you have to learn something about someone are the worst thing because no one cares. Like I don't care what your favorite ice cream flavor is. I want to know what weird adjective you can come up with. And that's
Yeah.
how I'm gonna decide if you're worthy of being friends with me.
Yeah, icebreakers are weird, and it sucks because like so I sometimes think that I have a really really great icebreaker, and then like I'll say it, and everyone's kind of like, I don't want to do that, and I feel really weird about it. One
uh,
time I did an icebreaker like if if your hair could be made of anything, what would it be? And there was like some people were like hell yeah, and other people were like this is really stupid, and I
hair.
felt really self conscious about it.
Oh, that's sad. That's a good one.
But anyway, so the history of Mad Libs isn't as I mean, I didn't expect it to be exciting, but it's not super exciting.
Yeah.
But so when do you think that Mad Libs were invented?
I'm gonna say like 1992.
You're far off. So Mad Libs were invented in actually 1953.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're a lot older than I thought they were. But in 1953 they were invented by Leonard Stern and Roger Price.
Okay.
And they sat on this idea for 5 years because they couldn't think of like what to name them.
That's why they sat on it.
That's why they sat on it for 5 whole years.
And they came up with Mad Libs, the
Yeah.
name.
So that's actually the little story I was about to tell. Oh, and before I even tell this story, for anybody who might not know what a Mad Lib is like it's a word game where you have like a paragraph of like a story that some of like the words are like blanks, and in the blank you have like the part of speech that it is basically, or like the type of word that is, and you fill it in without like you have someone else fill it in not knowing what like the story is, and then you read it back filled in with the words, and it's
Right.
often like funny because you didn't know like what the expectation was.
Right. So the sentence might be like, the dog was blank.
Yeah.
And under the blank it says adjective. And I asked Jordan a random adjective and he says saucy. So then the
Yeah.
sentence says the dog was saucy.
And then everyone laughs and laughs and laughs, so
Everyone's a great time.
but so in an interview, they Price and Stern tell this story. I don't know how true it is because it seems kind of a little bit too not fantastical, but like a little too like I don't know. Anyway, so in 1958, they were in New York City at a restaurant eating eggs Benedict. I don't know why this is like an
Ooh.
important part of the story, but they were eating eggs Benedict and they were like listening to a conversation between um a celebrity and their like manager or whatever.
Okay.
And the celebrity was like, oh, I want to ad lib this interview. And the manager was like, no, that seems like a mad idea. So from that moment on, it was called MadLibs. And then in 1958, they started publishing books. And those are like the MadLib books, which I think are
Right.
like, that's a proper noun. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like a MadLib is like these books. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So that's how MadLibs came to be. And then in 1958, they started publishing the books.
Cool. I mean, it's a really creative idea, like co-writing a story together.
Oh yeah, no, honestly, the idea of it is amazing. For some reason, I'm just really pessimistic about the story, and I don't believe it.
You don't believe like how they got the title.
Yeah, I think that it was like something that like they came up with, and it's probably one of those things they tell like on talk shows together, and they already have like their canned responses, and they have their parts of the story that they tell. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Charlize Theron said, "That's mad."
Yeah. But did you know that there was a Mad Libs game show?
What?
It was on Disney Channel. It started in July of 1998 and ended in the mid 1999. So it didn't last very long.
Oh, was Steve Harvey the host?
No, it was David Sidoni, whoever that is.
That's probably why it failed. They didn't have Steve Harvey.
Yeah, there was a special pilot that was aired in February of 1997, and that was hosted by David Sidoni, who hosted the show, Dick Clark, and
Oh,
J.D. Roth, which I only know who Dick Clark is.
yeah. Everyone knows Dick Clark, America's
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Oh, or he produced it. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's only on for a year. But the
Right.
game went as such. The first round, which was called the Viewer Mad Lab, this is where the contestants would recite a Mad Lib that was written by like an audience member or a home viewer beforehand.
Yeah.
And then the Mad Lib would come to life as like a physical game. And the object of the game was to make the most progress within a time limit, or to be the first team to complete the stunt. So I'm assuming that there was like a line in the Mad Lib that they had to like do.
Right. So it's like very loosely a Mad Lib game show. It's like a reenactment game show.
It kind of sounds a lot like Double Dare
Oh my god,
2000.
the best show.
That was the best show. And I remember when that show was on, which I think was like, I think I was always watching reruns of it. I don't think I was ever watching it in real time. But I remember thinking that how much I wanted to be on that show.
Yeah, and all that goop everywhere, slime.
Yeah.
That show was the best. And like you'd have to like dig through like a fake brain to find a flag and like run and give it to your mom.
Yeah. Oh my God. So good. And then the second round of the show, this was called Madder Than You. In this round, a category was given to the host by the host. And basically it was like the game Concentration 64,
Yes.
where there would be a category and they have 2 minutes to like go back and forth and say, like the two teams would go back and forth while passing this like white ball, which was the hot potato.
Okay.
And they'd have to say like a word in that category. And if the other team either repeated something or couldn't think of something, the other team got points for it.
Nice.
And
I
that
like
went
that.
for 2 minutes. Yeah.
But again, not really a Mad Lib.
Not really. No, correct. And then round 3 was called Mega Stunt. Both teams had to complete a stunt consisting of anything from picking nose hairs to grabbing mohawks while being strapped to a mailbag to grab items needed to create a Mad Lib.
Okay,
Each item,
that's like Double Dare.
it's so much like Double Dare. Each item in the stunt had a word on it, and the object of the stunt was to get 4 words in 4 categories. So I don't know what that looks like. I'm assuming like you had to have a verb, and the like the object had like an object had a verb on it, and then like it would probably accidentally become something really silly or funny because
Right.
like you're not even choosing the word, you're just like
Right.
accidentally finding it in these like things.
Yes. Yes.
That one seems more like Legends of a Hidden Temple to me.
Oh my god. Yes.
The end part where they're like searching the temple and they have to like put together like the monkeys.
Yeah. I feel like all these shows in the 90s, like these family style game shows, were exactly the same with different names.
Yeah, exactly. And
We don't have anything like it now. And now it's all like American Ninja Warrior, and it's like intense, not just a bunch of dummies like running around the stage.
or Wipeout, which is like one of the most entertaining shows, but you know what's going to happen.
Yes.
And Wipeout has this like, yeah. And Wipeout has this very like, do you ever watch a movie and they have like a dumb, like a dumb game show on, and it's supposed to be like a commentary on like how stupid modern entertainment is.
Yes.
There are certain things that like come on TV that you're just like, this is what they're watching in those TV shows.
Yes.
And Wipeout is one of those things.
That reminds me of that show. It was called like The People's Couch, where you're watching a family watch a TV show. So like you're watching their reactions.
Yeah.
That seems like the most make-believe, like bullshit, this is what's wrong with America TV show ever.
For sure. 100%. And so then that was round 3. And then the deciding round was called Mixed Up MadLibs. In this deciding round, the host reads a series of statements that had a crazy word inserted in each one. The contestant buzzed in to correct those statements with the right word. If the buzz-in contestant gave an incorrect answer, the opposing team got a chance to answer.
Cool.
And then there was a bonus round called Maximum MadLib. In this bonus round, the team decided who would give and who would receive. Ooh,
sexy.
The giving player during the last commercial break placed 5 words given to the player via envelope anywhere in the 5 clue areas. After the break, the giver was given 90 seconds to get his or her partner to say those words. Oh, it's like that game.
Pyramid.
Yeah. That's another game I've always wanted to be on. I
always want to be on any game show.
Me too, but especially Family Feud.
Oh yeah, but I don't want my family to be part. I want like my mom, my brother, and then like you and Steve Harvey.
You want Steve Harvey to be on our team?
Yeah. He's the master. He'd be really good at it.
But yeah, that is the MadLib game show. And that really sums up the history of MadLibs because there's not really an extensive history. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, I was mostly wondering how it even came to be, but it seems like there's not a lot of information on that, like how they even had the idea for taking out words of a story and like letting you fill them in.
Yeah, it seems like such a simple idea that it kind of just like was one of those things that like came together, you know?
Yeah, it's probably like they were writing a story and then one of them was like, oh, what's a word for, like, what's a funny description for this dog? And the other person was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Spiky, saucy, stinky, and then whatever it came from that.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys seem like they just like were doing other things. Like they were all producers. Like Stern was like the head writer of and comedy director of like the Steve Allen show. Oh. So it kind of just seemed like something that like they were friends and they just kind of did this together for some extra money.
Cool. Yeah, I'm more interested in what you've done than the history. So let's get to it.
Yeah. So should we just dive into it? I did do a dry run of this because I did it with Nathan because I wanted to make sure that like it came out like it made sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was good because I got to like work out some kinks. But if you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready. And then we'll talk about process after.
Okay. Sounds good. I've been told that this is kind of long, so bear with me.
That's fine.
Okay. So Julia, the first thing we need like an exclamation.
Weehaw.
Weehaw. And then I need something that like, I need an accident that can happen to it. Like something that you can do on accident or like a mess up or a weehaw or a donk.
Like I knocked over the gallon of milk all over the kitchen floor. Like spilled milk.
Okay. And then I need a name of a real person that you know.
A real person that I know? Personally?
Yeah.
Squid.
Okay.
Does that count?
It does. Nathan just used the same thing.
Oh.
No, it's perfect. I need a punishment. I need a noun. I need a size. A size? A size, yeah. A size, like extra small. I need a number. 69. I need a verb. And then a verb. This is the last one.
A verb. Shot. Or shoot.
I'm gonna change this to shoot. Okay. So this is it. Are you ready? Do you have any questions? Do you have any?
Yeah. I'm ready. I have questions for later, but I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm gonna start. Okay. Oh, weehaw. I spilled milk again. Please don't tell Squid. They'll surely make me wash his car again. I guess you're wondering how I got into this stinky situation. Well, it all started when I was picking old shoes off of my front lawn after an extra small party I threw to celebrate my 69th anniversary farting llamas.
God damn.
Then, slowly, I had to poop, but I had nowhere to go.
Slowly.
Joyfully, I ran 30 knots to the nearest big toe and did my business on that. With
What?
that out of the way, I could finally karaoke.
Oh, thank God.
While I was cleaning that up, I spotted a Komodo dragon, so I
Ooh.
went to go squat with it. Well, it did not like that, and it quickly ran into the hammock. That
Oh.
was a bad idea because moments later, I saw a bald eagle chasing after it, and
Oh,
after
no.
a moment of loud noise, the Komodo dragon was victorious.
Oh, no.
I decided to keep them as a pet and named them Dunstan. Anyway, that was a tangent. I get very raged when I'm embarrassed. So after I finished cleaning, I went inside for a nice cold glass of oat milk and
Ooh.
tried to give one to my new pet as well, but they weren't happy and retreated to the master bedroom. I heard a very loud noise and went to check on the youth extra large sized pal, and I frowned. There was a toothpick, an acorn, and a shot of whiskey on the floor,
Oh,
a
no.
foot-long hot dog all over the wall, and my signed copy of the Book of Mormon had a huge bite taken out of it.
Who signed it?
I got it as a wedding gift for my third husband's wedding from my great uncle. I don't like them very much, but I owe them from the time they saved me from that Sharknado. Well, as you know, I spilled milk again. The first time I did this is when the shot heard around the world, or when the shot was heard around the world.
Oh,
But
you're
that's
very
a different story. Squid will surely be home soon. So in a panic, I closed the door and I thought, here are the 3 plans that I came up with. 1, tell Squid that the NSA raided the home because I downloaded My Heart Will Go On 27 times on on LimeWire, and I had no choice but to spill milk. 2, tell them I took 2.5 Ambien and slept through the entire thing. When I woke up, Steve Harvey was sleeping on the floor or sleeping on the couch, and they must have been the one who spilled the milk. Or 3, run away to Toronto. They'll never find me there. I'll open a plastic bag boutique and change my name to Sycamore and finally live like a first lady. Oh shit, Squid is home. Quick, make up your mind. Door clicks open. Okay, fine. I'll pick number 3. Well, bucko, until next time, shoot you later. Love you. Bye-bye.
That was awesome. Oh, and Squid likes it.
Squid liked it too. So what'd you think?
I freaking loved it.
Did you have fun?
I had so much fun. I forgot how much fun they were. And I was worried about being funny. And then I realized, like, obviously the funny is how weird it is. And not, like, the words have to be funny.
Yeah, agreed. And I was worried about that too, but I was like, because I felt like I had to make it funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like the fact that just like random words in it makes it really funny.
And it's like enjoyable anyway. Like I bet if you just wrote that story straight up, it's goofy.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of how all MadLibs are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a weird premise.
Nonsensical, really.
Yeah, I loved it.
Thank you.
How did you come up with did you like write the story outright and then erase words?
No, I left the blanks in as like I was writing, and I was like trying to think like what would be like, when would it be funniest for there to be like a random thing in it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then to like, you know, most at MadLibs will just have like a noun or a verb, but there was a specific way that I kind of wanted it to go.
Right.
So like there was like specific things that I made, like the federal agency thing was like a specific one. And then like when I did it with Nathan, and when I was like your whole like your spilled milk thing, it was hard for me to like to think of the best way to get you to say something that was like a bad thing that you did without giving away the fact that like that's like part of the story, you know?
Right. Like saying a mistake.
Yeah.
Or plus I was wondering too, like how did you have an idea of like how many nouns to ask me for, how many verbs, like mix it up? Because I know sometimes it's like asks you for 10 nouns and you can't think of any.
Oh, no, I honestly didn't even think about that. I kind of just like wrote it like that. And then I did the whole like 3-step thing because I figured it could be fun to like, there'd be an element in there where like, it was different no matter like depending on who did it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yes.
like there's the 3 steps, and then like you picked 1, 2, or 3, and you didn't know what that meant.
Right.
You know.
That's awesome. I
So I thought
love
that was
it.
really fun.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
that
had a
was
lot
like
of
an
fun doing it.
expert. I thought it was like an uh expert one. Like how you had to finagle like how many different options I get, and it's like choose your own adventure and Mad Libs.
Oh yeah, and it was fun because I put things in there that was like used multiple times. So like you said
Right.
squid, but you didn't realize that squid was gonna be in it the whole time, you
Right.
know?
I
But
loved it.
Nathan also said squid, and then the other thing that he said was he almost said the shot heard around the world, but he did something different.
I thought your Mad Lib was awesome.
Thank you.
Would you do it again, like as a icebreaker or something?
I think I would, and I think that it's really fun to make them. And I don't know. I think that I'm a funny person, but sometimes if I try to be really funny, it like doesn't translate very well.
That's a
And like
dong.
you were saying that the funniness comes from like the random object thing. So when I tested on Nathan, I was kind of like, okay, I'm just testing it so that we can see if like it makes sense.
Right.
But we are like laughing really hard anyway, just because
Right.
it's stupid and silly.
Right. And I was thinking about that too, even with like improv comedy, they say like don't try to be funny
Hmm.
because then you're not funny and you're like taking over the whole scene.
Right.
So it's like just be goofy and like have a good time and it's funny.
Yeah.
That's the essence of Mad Libs you should ingrain in your life.
But I think that I would definitely do it again. I think I might, especially because like I love icebreakers, and with what I do for work, we have a lot of situations in which we need
Yeah.
icebreakers. So I think this would be a really good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Plus I feel like we as a kids, like when Mad Libs were big in our lives, was a time where like we couldn't just like turn to YouTube or look at Netflix. Like we had
Yeah.
to have fun in a different way. And Mad Libs is like a good way to interact with someone while you're also being entertained. So it's not just like you have to make up a random conversation. It's like an active way to talk to someone.
Yeah, exactly. I think I want to challenge more people to like write their own, because like it was fun for me to even like do it, and it felt like when I was reading them to you and Nathan, like it felt like a sense of like accomplishment, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like really collaborative because like wow, we're both sitting here like making each other laugh because like we got
Yeah.
to do this together.
I want you to make like a whole book of them and just have them be like extreme situations. Anything else you want to say about Mad Libs?
I think that this one goes up there with origami, and like first of all, I did more origami. I know it's not related to what
Hell
you just asked
yeah.
me, but I did do more origami, and I plan on making like origami bats like in a string as like um apartment uh
Cute.
decoration.
I love that.
That's a fun thing I'm gonna do. But I love this one, and I think it's gonna be something I have in like my back pocket as like an activity to do with friends, or an icebreaker, or just like something to do when I'm bored and like
Yeah, I love that.
have fun.
I feel like it'd be a fun, not like that's a game, but it'd be a fun drinking game where you just like say a bunch of dumb shit to each other and laugh about a dumb story rather than like sitting around and talking about Instagram or whatever. What do
Yeah,
people talk about?
I don't. Well, so obviously in quarantine, it's kind of hard to do things on Saturday nights, and like I'm somebody who likes to go out and have some drinks and have fun, and I try to like every once in a while try to still do not go out, but like have that energy and like
Yeah.
make some drinks and get some beers and maybe like take a couple shots, but like it's just me and Nathan, and like that's great, don't get me wrong, but like there's not a lot of things you can do, and we've already played Yahtzee so many times. I think I'm gonna start like pulling these out of something, and I think that this is something that I think a lot of people could have fun with, and you
I
can't
think
really do it wrong.
right. I think you and I should do like a video happy hour, get drunk, do Mad Libs.
Oh my god, yeah, I love that idea.
Let's do it.
And we could even get like a couple other people on and like
Yeah.
all do it together.
Yeah. And then once you're done with Mad Libs, you're already drunk, so you're just like hanging out with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have like that's the other thing is like sometimes when I do these like Saturday night like boyfriend hangs, it's like okay, well we live together and do all this stuff. Like, what are we supposed to talk about now? So this is like a good
Right.
thing to like even with friends. Sometimes like I talk on the phone a lot with people just like for
Yeah.
entertainment, and it's like okay, we're in quarantine and we already know what it's like to be in quarantine, and we're kind of running out of things to talk about. So
Yeah.
if you need some spice in your life, this is a good way to get that.
Yes, I love it. All right. So out of how do you want to rate this week?
My rating system is going to be out of 10 verbs. I'm going to do 9.
Okay.
Only because doing it now, I wish I did more. Like, I want to
Yeah.
do longer ones. Like, I had so much fun doing it. I just want to do more.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
like the best rating we could ask for.
Yeah.
Awesome. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome,
it's
welcome.
Us, ya boys, here for Make Me Part 2.
That's right.
How was your break, Julia?
Whatever. It was good. I think I peed for a full 2 minutes straight.
That's actually good. Or bad. I don't know. I don't know how the urinary tract works.
I don't really know anything about how my body works and what it's supposed to be doing.
Me, always.
How's your break?
It was good. I sat here.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to get into your Make Me this week?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
So this week you made me make you a comic.
Yes, I did.
I don't know if you said comic strip or comic or whatever. But I took that as a comic strip.
Uh-huh.
So, before we get into that, do you have a history with comics, comic books, cartoons?
I think I have the same one that a lot of, people have, in that, like, it's pretty mainstream and it's there. I love to read the Sunday Funnies.
Oh, yes.
Is that do you guys call those the Sunday Funnies?
We call them, like the funny papers.
Yeah. I really liked those. I got into comic books a little bit later, like probably a few years ago. I started reading like comic books, but I really like comic strips. And I was in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, the musical.
Oh, wow.
When I was in 9th grade. No, I wasn't Charlie. I was Pigpen, which
oh my God.
is not in the original, musical, but our director had all these like chorus people in the back who like got some lines sometimes, and like they were all like other characters in like the Peanuts comic, so that was really fun.
That's so fun. I also love Pigpen. He's like our dirtbag king.
Yeah, I liked him. He was fun to play, and like it was fun to like just be dirty.
Yeah. Ooh, just be dirty.
Yeah.
Did you you didn't read comics as a kid other than the newspaper?
Not really. I think I wanted to be that person who read comic books growing up, but I just like couldn't get into it until more recently, when I started reading this one called Zodiac Star Force.
Ooh.
And then I read The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And there's a few others that I've read that I really like.
I feel like that's like airing on graphic novel territory, right?
Yeah, I think that there's a line that it might be sitting on, that it might just be a graphic novel.
Yeah.
But I think it originally came out in comic books. I don't know.
Right. I think that's like that's what it is. Like graphic novels are sometimes compilations of comic books that came out in specific issues. Like I read The Walking Dead as a graphic novel, but it had like there was delineations between like the smaller books that it was part of, or that
for sure.
When I was a kid, my dad would get us books at like every occasion. You could have a present, like your third husband's marriage to your third husband. And he would always get us some sort of comic book, in the sense of it's like a compilation of like comics that would be in the newspaper or comic strips that you would find elsewhere. So
oh, cool.
I had like a bunch of Peanuts ones that were originally issued in the newspaper. We had The Far Side.
Oh yeah.
Like all of the Far Side compilations. And then I had Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes too.
Oh, nice. Those are good.
They were the best. And like it's like a fun gift for a kid, but also that's like a reading skill. And it's like a different way of reading and comprehending language, I guess.
The Far Side was a cultural reset.
Yeah.
And Nathan keeps telling me that I can't just say things are a cultural reset.
Yeah, I'm not even really sure what that means.
I don't either, but I keep saying like things that I like are cultural resets.
My friend keeps saying that things like blank is a gay icon. So the Far Side is a gay icon.
The Far Side is a gay icon. Watch the guy, like the person who like drew those is like,
Gary Larson.
oh, he's not a homophobe, is he?
I hope
Outwardly?
not. I think he like just put out his first comic in the past like 20 years, and it's some like satire on the fascism in America. So
Oh, good.
hopefully he's not a bad person. Um, but yeah, I think it started off as that, and like we would have these comic books. My brother and I would like trade them with each other. Like after I finished Calvin and Hobbes, I would take his Far Side, and then he got into like graphic novels before I did. And so I thought they was really cool. So I would read them as well.
Mm-hmm.
We had the huge compilations of The Walking Dead and the nerds are gonna kill me for not knowing the name of this, but like some Batman comic. It's called like Gotham Knights or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then recently in my MFA program, we read a Octavia Butler novel. Octavia Butler is like this huge science fiction Afrofuturist writer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this group of people that are, it's like 2 or 3 men that are converting those stories into graphic novel representations of her novels. So we read Kindred, like the Kindred novel in its graphic novel representation in my master's program,
That's amazing.
which was awesome. And our professor the whole time was like, this is, people like shit on comics and graphic novels as like a lesser form of writing.
Yeah.
But actually she was saying it's more involved in many ways because you can't just use that novel word for word,
Right.
because it would be like so much dialogue. And also a lot of the text is like describing the background of the pictures of the scenario, the feeling, and all of that you can represent through like color and texture and the actual things on the page. So we spent like a whole week dissecting this graphic novel and how like each image brings so much more than just like the 2 people in the image or the background or the object.
That's so cool.
It
Have
was
you
awesome.
I read Fun Home,
Ooh,
which,
what's that?
do you know who Alison Bechdel is?
Yeah.
She
Wait,
was a
how do I know her?
she was a cartoonist, and she's the one who coined the Bechdel test, which is like
Oh,
the movie system in which like are there more than one like female characters? Do they talk to each other, and are they talking about something that's not a man?
right.
But she has like an autobiographical graphic novel called Fun Home, which was turned
Cool.
into a Broadway show
Wow.
about like her father's suicide, and like later in his life she found out that, like, her father is queer
Whoa.
and had all these like stories and all this kind of stuff, and like relating to her father, like after his suicide, and like he was kind of like a jerk to everyone in the family, so like dealing with like that kind of stuff. So it's really
Wow.
good. I'd recommend it.
That sounds really good. I really like this shift, and I'm sure like purists aren't in the same way a lot of people look at comedy now as like, why are people just telling all these like really sad and like real stories about themselves? I
Mm-hmm.
see like comics and comic books and graphic novels going that direction too in some ways, where like people are just telling real stories through this medium that was often used as like a fun jovial thing.
Yeah.
But I really like that. And I feel like sometimes it's a way easier way to grasp these, like I maybe wouldn't pick up a story about someone's dad's suicide because that sounds sad,
Yeah.
but a comic book makes it easier to digest and oftentimes like way more expressive.
Yeah, because sometimes if you don't want to have to, sometimes I deal with this where I don't want to have to sit with like really sad words a lot and like
Yeah.
read, like take the time to read like a really depressing thing. So to like be able to, and but the other thing is like I love to watch really sad depressing movies.
Yeah.
So to get the best of both worlds, I can like refer to a graphic novel dealing with like similar situations.
Yes. And on the flip side, I follow a lot of, I'm sure you do as well. I feel like a lot of people do on Instagram. They follow like comic illustrators. or like people that are like illustrating just like goofy things all the time. So you get
Yeah.
both. You get both. So like people are talking about like their real life, and they have this like little cartoon character of themselves, but it's like dumb shit that happens to them day to day.
Like Adam
Similar,
Tots.
yeah, similar to like Garfield just wanting lasagna all the time, but it's about someone's specific life instead of John and Garfield.
I'm trying to think of like those like famous Instagram, like, so you got Adam Tots, and then you have those aliens,
The aliens?
the little blue aliens.
Oh, and it's like them pretending to be human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write in if you know what that is.
And there's also
There's probably people like listening being like yelling at us about what it is.
yeah, I don't the thing about me is that I'm really bad at remembering names. I'm the only person that's like this. Um but I follow a lot of like comic illustrators and comic writers, and I don't know the proper term for it, on Instagram. That's just like autobiographical, but it's goofy stuff that happens in their day, or it's like totally nonsense and it's just fun to look at. I follow like Sad Animal Facts, which is this illustrator who draws pictures of animals and like tells you a fact about them that's really depressing,
Oh.
but it's like cute and fun. Um so I think it's cool that comics are more mainstream now than they used to be. Like you had to wait for the newspaper to come out,
Yeah,
or like a magazine, like an indie magazine that was going to post them.
for sure.
Um, so I did like a tiny bit of research about the history of comics just because I was interested in the beginnings of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do feel like they've kind of like infiltrated the cultural conversation now. But no one really knows like the exact place to pinpoint comics, because it's like, how do you know the exact point where like illustration and words crossed over? Because there was like a lot of different amalgamations of that over history.
And I can imagine it's one of those things where like it was developed in two different places, like in like parallel timeline, like not
Yeah.
parallel timelines, but like at the same time with very similar like progression.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what I learned is that like the place where we can pinpoint where they started becoming like big was the mid 20th century. And of course there was like political cartoons and stuff before that. But like comics themselves as being like an iterative thing that you're following in the newspaper or magazine was the mid 20th century. And it happened kind of like in the US, in Europe, and Japan at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Japan has like a huge history of comics and manga and anime and all that. And like the first comic cartoon series that was very popular was The Adventures of Tintin, which is in the 1830s.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah, it's pretty old. And I also heard that it's like pretty problematic if you look back at it, but I
Oh,
haven't I
interesting.
never really like read them.
No, I only know it by name. And I know there's like a movie came out like this
Yeah.
decade.
Yeah. And so there's I think that it's like it's not that interesting of history. Basically, like comics became a thing, and like
Yeah.
you could follow the narrative over many weeks. But I did think it was interesting that they happened like around the same time. And manga has like that's when they became like hugely popular, I guess, from a Western lens, because manga and comic books in Japan, comics, similar type things without that name, can be traced back to like the 12th century.
Yeah.
Because we had words and illustrations at the same time. People weren't calling it comics, but it's the same. It's like basically the same thing.
Gotcha.
So, and I think in many cases Japan does it better.
I'd agree with that.
I think manga is so cool. Like I remember kids reading, or like looking through them, reading them in middle school and high school, and thinking they were really cool because you like read them backwards compared to how we read things, and like they're converted from Japanese to English, and like it was this weird microcosm culture that I wasn't a part of whatsoever, and like didn't think I could step my foot into.
See, the way I felt about it is that those kids were always getting made fun of, and
Yeah.
like I wasn't a self-actualized person enough to be like, if I like that, I'm going to do that. My
Yes.
whole thing was like, if there's any other thing that someone can make fun of me for, like more than what I'm already being made fun of for, I'm not going near it.
Yes.
Which like really put me in a position where I missed out on a lot of stuff that I wish I could have just like
yeah,
done.
totally. I feel the same way. Plus, I feel like the kids that didn't give a fuck if they were being made fun of are better adults than the people that were like nervous the whole time about like what's gonna be right because they figured out all the stuff they like early on.
Right.
I was telling my friend Kyle once that like everyone needs to go through like a fat stage, an ugly stage, a nerdy stage, something like that. And I don't trust people that were like always good looking, always popular, always like good talking to people because they never had to have a stage where they developed a personality.
Well, what happens is like their downfall happens second rather than first. So
Yeah.
that like, and it's, I feel like it's more miserable because then they just like grew up expecting certain
Right.
things. And then now that they're a developed person, it's like constantly like everything's wrong now. Whereas like
Yeah.
people like us who were ugly when we were younger and like were unpopular had to like become people. And then now
Yeah.
everything seems so much better as like a real whole person. And
Yes.
like everything, like we know that everything's like a learning situation.
Yes. I think my brother told me he works with this person that said that high school was the best time of his life and like
Yikes.
always talks about high school. And that person sounds like an absolute nightmare to me.
Yeah. Jinkies.
Anyway, I have you ever created a comic strip or like a comic book for in your free time or for class or something?
I've tried to do some like comic book cover illustrations, but
Cool.
I've always like been not happy with it. And
Uh,
then one time for an art class in high school, I had to make a comic strip, and it was it was two flies and
what does that mean?
like two
Oh,
bugs, like two flies.
that was your premise. Got it.
Yeah. So they were sitting there, and then the one fly says to the other, he says, "Hey fly, your dude is open." And that
Okay.
was it. It was supposed to be a play on "Hey dude, your fly is
I like
open."
that. Hey, fly, your dude's open. That sounds great. Did you
Thanks.
get an A?
Yeah.
Nice.
What happened? The way to get A's in high school is to not be smarter or better than everyone else. It's to befriend all of your teachers.
Right. You heard it here first, people. If your teacher likes you, they'll give you an A.
Yes, and that's why I'm the way I am today.
Yes. I had to make a comic book, like a comic strip in high school. And I found this week when I was making this comic, but I feel like I have creative ideas that don't transfer to illustration. Like I can write a funny concept, but then like I don't know how to I can draw minimally
Yeah.
and like I'm not like the best artist. I don't think I'm a bad artist. I just like I see these great comics and then I try to do it myself and it's not the same and I get frustrated.
Yeah.
And also like I again when you try to be really funny, it like comes off really corny and bad. So my comic was like some bullshit and I hated it. And like I think I hid it away from myself and my teacher and said I never did it.
Yeah. I've definitely done that before.
Yeah.
I did that in college one time.
You're like, oh, you must have lost it because I definitely turned it in.
I was like, no, for me, I was like, I just couldn't get to. I was like having a bad emotion. Like
Yeah.
the way to get A's in college is to be really like be really transparent about your mental health
Yeah.
to your professors
And make sure you're friends with them.
and make sure you're friends with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So any questions about like the history of comics, my history, your history before I get into what I did?
No, I'm more excited about what you did.
Good, because I don't have anything else to say.
Perfect.
Okay, so I made a short comic strip that I sent you on your phone. I want you to look at it and then like I'll try to summarize it for everyone. But
Okay.
take this time to look on Instagram at the episode, whatever this is, comic strip that I created.
Oh my God, I love this. Wait, should I give my first reactions or do you want to talk about it first?
Yeah, give me your first reaction.
So I love like these are my favorite kind of comic strips, and this like is directly aligns with the whole thing, the fun home thing,
Yeah,
because that's exactly what it is. Like it's just like like stories and moments in her life that she has illustrated out. And
yeah,
I loved that you just like made it a story that like is funny to you, like about your life,
yeah,
because like that I think is way funnier than like trying to come up with like if you're not like a person who makes comics and comes up with like funny comic strip ideas, to
Yeah.
like directly apply like your storytelling skills to this, I think is so funny.
Well, thank you. This is for those of you who haven't looked at the Instagram yet, this is a true story from my life where I don't know if you all experienced this, but you could go to like Spencer's Gifts or like random gift shops and they would have like spill pranks. So you could buy something that was like plastic, but it looked like someone had spilled nail polish and you could like put it on someone's seat. And I don't know what people use them for,
Yeah.
but I feel like they were everywhere at a certain point in time.
Yes.
And so there was this ice cream shop attached to a mini golf place that we would go to when we visited my grandma. And they had a bunch of those. They had like fake full sundaes, but they also had like melted ice cream and stuff on the counter, which that's like the only practical use I can see for those things.
Yeah.
And so like I had seen all the fake ones and we're there ordering ice cream. And I see this sundae and I was like, that can't be real. That looks so fake. So I was like, obviously that's fake. And I went to poke it. And as like slow-mo, I was going to poke it. And as my finger touches the ice cream, I like looked over and this lady was looking at me like in shock. But she didn't say anything. And so I just kind of like looked at her probably for like 2 seconds, but it felt like 10 minutes. And I like pulled my finger away and ran out and I like just wiped my hand off on my pants and I already had my ice cream at that point. I showed up to my parents like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. It's fine. Everything's good.
Everything's
And
normal.
I literally I've never told anyone that. I've like told friends, but I've never told anyone in my family that was there.
Oh my God, that is so funny. What did the ice cream look like that you poked? Was it like a
It was like a perfect ice cream sundae. Like it
Oh my
had
God.
bananas, it had the cherries on top, it had like fudge melted all over it. It
Yeah.
was like they had done such a good job that there was no way that it was real.
Yeah. That is so was like waiting on the counter for someone to come get it?
Yeah, I guess she had like stepped away to talk to her kids or something, and she like came back right as they had put it. I guess they put it on the counter. I didn't see them put it there, so I poked it
Oh my
and looked at
gosh.
her and ran away.
I love it. Um so how did you pick this story and how did you like pick what you're going to draw?
So I was thinking, I was like racking my brain trying to figure out something to write about, and then like you, I really like all those autobiographical, like goofy stories people tell on Instagram or in other comic book scenarios. So I thought, since I can't think of anything like outrageous, that one, I can't think of it, and two, if I did, I couldn't illustrate it. So I picked something from my life, and I just always thought this funny. This story was really funny,
Yeah.
and now I had a venue to draw it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's also things that I can draw pretty easily. And I looked through a bunch of Instagrams to figure out like, okay, to tell an actual story with the comic, you don't have to illustrate every step of it, which I was
Right.
thankful for because I'm not good at drawing people as illustrated in this little picture of me with my like, I tried to get my transition glasses from when I was a kid in there and my like dumb haircut.
I love your outfit, like the shorts.
Yeah.
It's like you look like a middle schooler. I
That's
also
exactly
really
it.
like I also really like your use of color.
Oh, thank you. I was gonna say I donked a little bit and didn't finish coloring it in.
No, I kind of like it. I kind of like that, color is used for some things. It's kind of like a flashback. Like you see in flashbacks in a movie where like they only have one color in the flashback, you
Yeah,
know?
like Sin City, the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
um. So yeah, I didn't really like think about what I wasn't like, and I'm gonna draw this thing, and it's only gonna be this one part because that illustrates this. It was like, what can I actually draw, and how can I get around drawing people a bunch because I'm clearly not good at it.
You sure did draw the Sunday a lot.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a bunch of circles.
um, was this your first attempt?
This was my third attempt because I like couldn't figure out. Also, I don't have like big pieces of paper. This is like a notebook size or like a notepad size paper.
Okay.
So I like kept drawing lines, and then I would do small squares because I know comics are like sometimes just a bunch of small squares, and I couldn't figure out how to like fit everything into the squares.
Uh-huh.
I knew I wanted like a good amount of text. So this was like my third attempt of like trying to get everything situated.
I really love the picture, the illustration of the lady who ordered it. That's what I call her now. The lady who ordered it.
The lady who ordered it.
I love her eyelashes.
She's like drunk and horrified that I touched
Yeah.
her. I also, at first, I wanted to write a comic strip about how my mom said there was always room for ice cream because it just like melts or and like fits around all the other food in your stomach.
Uh-huh.
I thought that would be a funny image of like zoomed in on a stomach with like a pizza slice and like a T-bone steak, and then like ice cream melts around it.
That's so funny that you say that because I always thought there was like my idea was that there was a separate stomach for ice cream.
Ice cream. Why is it
Yeah.
that like everyone loves ice cream?
Because it's just sugar. It's sugar milk.
Sugar milk. It's the best. I was at Trader Joe's yesterday and they have this like new strawberry oat milk ice cream. I've been
Ooh.
trying all of these dairy-free ice creams to like, because I love ice cream so much and I could eat a gallon of it in one sitting, and I'm like trying to find alternatives so I don't do that, and also trying to be more sustainable.
Uh-huh.
As I'm checking out, the lady's like, "Have you tried this yet?" And she like holds up the oat milk ice cream, and I was like, "No, have you? Is it good?" And she just goes, "No, it's not good."
No, I love strawberry milk. Strawberry milk.
And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm still gonna buy it."
Tell her that you're gonna tell Trader Joe.
She was like, I'm going to report you to Trader Joe himself. She was like, "You can come back. If you don't like it, you can bring it back and say you didn't like it and we'll give you your money back." I feel like I had a really good time doing this. Also, it like tested my limits and frustrations just because I've been here before, and I have a perfect vision of what I want to put on the page, and then when I put my pen to paper, it's like not that great.
Yeah.
So I like where it turned out. I think it's fun. I think it's cute, but also I did donk because I didn't complete the coloring, and it took a lot longer than I was expecting. I think I spent like 3 hours like brainstorming and drawing and writing and like doing it in pencil, then doing it in pen, and then going with color, and I just like didn't a lot for the right amount of time.
Yeah. Do you think you'd do it again?
I think I would do it again if I had a good idea.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like when you learn about comic books, like the person that writes the story and the illustrator and the color person are all different people.
Yeah, that's the thing I was gonna say. Is like there's like a story writer and then an illustrator, and then
But
like
then there's also someone that goes into the illustration and like adds the color and texture.
yeah,
That's a different
exactly.
person.
It's a whole different person. If you
Also,
like ever
everyone,
look into the history of like Marvel,
yeah,
it's not just what's his face. He barely does. If anything, he does none of it.
right.
He's like come
Steadman.
up with one idea, and now he's the face of Marvel.
Right. Well, he like came up with the ideas of some of the superheroes, but then other people write the stories. Like Scott Ackerman even has certain comic books that he was the writer for.
Yeah,
But it's like
the
in the
X-Men.
Marvel universe. Oh, X-Men, yeah.
Yeah,
Also, obviously I'm not an artist, and all the artists on Instagram, the comics that I follow, have those fancy digital comic writing illustrator apps
yeah.
that makes it a lot easier, and I had to do it all by hand, which was fun, but obviously, as we've learned before, I'm not an expert, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
I had
Uh,
fun.
good. What's your overall rating out of 10 verbs?
Out of 10 verbs, I would say I'm gonna say like a 6,
Okay.
just because I think I could have done better, and also like finish the task at hand.
Yeah.
Also, like I had a vision for what it was gonna look like, and that didn't turn out to be.
Mhm.
So like I think above halfway, because I did enjoy the whole process, but I didn't like the final outcome is nowhere near what I want it to be.
Yeah. Is it a donk?
I don't I donked on not coloring it,
Okay, so we're
but I
gonna
think the whole
do
process is not a donk.
on color. We haw, and then everything else is a win.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Yes. But I had a great time.
Cool. Should we get into next week's Make Me's?
Yes. Please.
Okay. You go first.
Okay. For next week, I want you to convince me of a conspiracy theory.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. I already have a few in mind.
Oh my God. But you can't just tell me about a conspiracy theory. You have to like do the job to get me to believe that it's true.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Hell
I can
yeah.
do that. And then Julia, for you, I want you to do the Bloody Mary thing.
No. No.
Wait, do you not really want to do that one?
No, I'll do it. I'm just
Okay.
scared.
I'm really excited about this next episode, actually, now. Not that I'm not excited ever.
I'm always excited, but this one I'm gonna be murdered for, so at least we'll know I went down in history.
Yeah. I
as
mean,
someone that got
we'll
murdered
have
on a
written
podcast.
proof or verbal proof that like something bad happened if we can't make it to next episode.
All right. If you don't hear me on the next podcast, it's because Bloody Mary came to my house and slit my throat.
And then before we sign off, do you have a listener make me?
Yes. My listener make me is to invent a new Pokemon,
Yes.
illustrate it, make the card with like strengths and weaknesses, and send us a picture of it.
Bonus points if you give it a full evolution.
Oh yeah, if it has a full evolution, I'll send you 25 cents.
Okay. All right. Until next time.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, it's Jordan and Julia. Thanks for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it.
For content related to this episode, follow us at Make Me Pod on Instagram. And you can hear episodes each week on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you find us anywhere else, please let us know.
You can also send us your questions, comments, make me suggestions, pictures of your dog, or requests for unlicensed medical advice to makemepod@gmail.com.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, rate, etc., etc. That's how we get discovered.
Please, we need to be clicked.
But for real, leave a comment so we know you love us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
The worst is if they like compliment the shirt the first day. So if you wear it again, it's like awkward.
Oh, you complimented the first day, so I had to wear it again.
Right, exactly. All right, everybody. Until next week, enjoy. I'm going to do that again because I hated whatever just happened. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm going to do that again because I hated it.
Okay. Serious.